Let's go. You're now tuned in to the Patriot.
American energy exploration. You're going to see an American energy boom starting right away. You're going to see all the regulations that are strangling job growth in this country and driving up prices, driving up housing costs go away. You're going to see the border sealed shut. The criminal aliens are going to be shipped home, and foreign countries around the world are going to accept the gang members and the cartel members that are poisoning our families and murdering American children. You are going to see peace begin to restore to the world as the president works to bring back harmony in the Middle East, harmony in Europe. You're going to see him work with Congress to pass another round of historic tax relief, and you're going to see a government that is accountable to the people again. The swamp will be drained on day one. Incompetent and disloyal people that are hurting this nation are going to be replaced with those who care only for the American people, the American worker, and the American future. That's what's going to happen. It will be a new golden age, Sean.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Table of Titans. It is Thursday again, and loss of control. It seems like Make America Great Again is not waiting for Inauguration Day. It seems to be in full force now. We're already seeing policyholders. We're getting picks for people for different spots on the administration side. So good things are happening. We're going to cover a lot. We've got stuff about shootings. We've got stuff about the earthquake that's happening, and plus all the changes in Congress that are coming here very shortly. And Speaker Johnson seems to be on the bus and driving it the right direction. There's going to be some interesting things here, and Elon and the DOGE boys are going to be an interesting topic tonight, plus a whole lot more. Thank you. Hit the smash the thumbs up button and leave a comment in the bottom of the video. I got RDoc Space Shot and Tron with me. Tron, what is going on, my friend?
What's going on, guys? Ammunition is spent. We are literally witnessing the destruction of the old guard. Tick-tock. It is D5, guys. December 5th. I can't believe we're in this position, but I can believe it because this is completely awesome. We took it the first time around. We definitely took it the second time around, guys. That beautiful red wave. We ran red on November 5th. We took all the swing states. We got the House, the Senate. We have judiciary orders intact. We have a cabinet that's full of amazing, young, youthful patriots with a mission to make America great again. And finally, guys, as much as we miss seeing Boss every single day at these rallies, Boss gets to sit down with his family. He gets to organize what they're going to do in this next administration. And most importantly, guys, remember we have this Hunter Biden pardon. Sleepy Joe said he would never do that. And here we go again with political theater, guys, political theater. We're probably going to get into that as well. But again, remember, every time they went after Boss, this whole persecution, whether it was 4 years or 8 years, it was only because he was uncovering this deep state swamp that has entrenched our country since a very, very long time. And here we are finally with this option, finally with this, the ball's in our court. We can actually take it back. And we have a lot of work to do, but I like where we're in. I like the position that we're in, and I like where we're going, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Let's rock and roll. It's boom time.
Oh, what's going on? Thank you, Mr. Tron. Mr. RDoc, you're up, Mr. Next. And if anybody hasn't been paying attention, we've been doing some weekly shows in the morning, some little coffee and chill at 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you guys want to go get involved, what's going on over there, because it's a lot more in depth, and we let RDoc off the leash. So why don't you talk a little bit about that for a second?
Yeah, I was say, as the world turns, and Tron 100% correct, Trump is moving forward as the world goes. The USA is leading. The world is changing. We've got, though, these people that are losing control, trying to burn the world down as they are out of control, as they're losing power. We've got major issues going on in France. The government has collapsed. Germany, things are desperate as before, and those two powerhouses of Europe are making the entire European Union get jitters. We have the deep state trying to do more Maidan coups, one in Georgia. We talked about that this week. We talked about the one, they're trying to do one in Romania now, Hulk. We're going to get into that tonight. Okay, and then now we've got the issues down in South Korea. The government has collapsed. The president is in trouble. We're going to get into all of it tonight. The world is a crazy, effed up mess. But you know what? Donald Trump is attacking it now. There's some areas we're going to criticize him on. We're going to see. We're going to get you guys ready to make sure that you're staying vigilant on your government, because there are still bad actors trying to get into this administration. And I'm sure, Hulk, you're going to get into some of the picks and some of the talk going on just today about some of these Senate confirmations. Boy, oh boy, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully I got them all. When we get to that point, let me know if I missed anything. Mr. Space Shot, sir, how are you doing? Welcome back to the YouTubes.
How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It's interesting. So, Hulk, just a heads up, I was able to get, so when I connected that thing, it started another link on YouTube. So, therefore, we are live on YouTube. And we do have to tread very carefully, or I'm going to have to, and we're going to end up having to shut it off. Maybe we'll let you know when we're going to do it. Hulk will let me know, essentially. But soon as I got the thing back, got multiple little warnings, and one of those was a strike. So that's why I wasn't up last week, because they gave me a strike on a video from 2018 that was private, and that's the AI doing the crawling thing. So we're going to try to abide by the rules and probably, play a little tight to the rope. But if I can make it to February, we can get rid of a strike and a warning, and then we can kind of go full bore from there. So, check the description box, ladies and gentlemen. For anybody who's wondering where we've been for the last few years, that's where we've been. So grab it while you can. You never know. They could pull the plug at absolutely any time. And it's glad to see so many of the old familiar names that we've seen there. And it was a very nice welcome back we got there from my little welcome back video that I put up the other day. Very, very kind comments. And of course, you get a couple people, oh, you're still shilling for Trump and blah, 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 blah. Oh, God, please. So, with the love comes the haters, and we expect that. But got to give a big hat tip to Country over there at Liberty Based News, doing a simulcast with us on many different. I'm over here doing Patriot News in the background here. Yeah, and thank you to the mods out there helping us on many different platforms out there. We got Debbie over on YouTube and Wheezy and Chris over on Rumble, and I don't know if my buddy James is over there on YouTube, but you're still a mod. You're still actually a mod too, Hulk. So just interesting.
You should hit Tron, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Tron. And Tron, so a lot of people were asking for you guys in the comments, hey, wondering where Hulk and Ardoc's been, and here they are. So say hello to the YouTube folks, Tron, Hulk, and Ardoc, because you haven't seen them, and they haven't heard from you guys in a while. So hello. So lots of tabs, lots of stuff to get through, guys, and we're going to get going. And then, like I said, we'll let you know when we're turning off the YouTube stream, and then you have links in the description box to follow along. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Much love. Peace out.
Yeah, make sure the mods do continue over there on the YouTube Space Shot side. Drop the link for the Rumble channel that's over there. We're going to come back to the Bill Maher clip over there and go right into where Tron had picked up here, because I think this is an important topic as we get into DOGE.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Running in.
So Ramaswamy and Musk want to downsize the federal workforce by cutting spending. They want to suck out waste, fraud, and abuse and supercharge efficiency by ripping up thousands of pages of regulations. But today, in meetings with lawmakers, is where they're going to get down to the nitty gritty. There's a lot of downsizing, though, that Musk and Ramaswamy can get done without Congress. Trump can cancel out regulations through executive order. He could direct agencies to adopt new policies that might scare off some of the least dedicated employees, chopping down the workforce voluntarily. But some things like permanent spending reductions and limited budgets, they need Congress to get done. It seems like they may have some allies across the aisle, though, willing to hear them out. Senator Bernie Sanders saying Elon Musk is right, that some things need to be cut, and other Democrats are joining in as well.
So it seems like the Republican Party is in more of alignment of pushing out this DOGE thing, and we're seeing the Democrats, or the deep state totalitarian government, run for cover over there, which is interesting. So I'm just going to throw this out here with Jordan Peterson just to kind of give you an idea of what they're talking about.
You've heard about the 80-20 rule, I presume, is 20% of your customers provide 80% of your business. That's not the rule. So here's the rule. The square root of the number of people that work for you do half the work. So that means if you have 10 employees, 3 of them do half the work. But if you have 10,000 employees, 100 of them do half the work. Now, this is an unbelievably well-documented phenomenon. I'm not telling you something that's in the realm of speculation. This is a solid statistical law. Now, there's a rule that goes along with it. Spend all your time with your most productive people. Now, the typical manager does exactly the opposite. They find the 10% of their staff that are floundering and spend all their time with them. It's counterproductive. You're not going to help them. You don't have the ability. You don't have the time. They don't have the motivation. It's not going to work. You spend all your time with your most productive people, and the same with your own use of time. It's you spend all your time on those things that you are best suited to do, and you have to be brutal about that.
So New York Times had come out. Anybody want to talk anything about the government efficiency reports that came out?
I mean, think about it, guys. This really isn't anything new. And like I said, we're finally in a position where we can put the delegation of duty in power. MAGA started in the very beginning to reduce the government size and cut all this wasteful spending, but most importantly, improve the efficiency of our government operation. And we saw this during pandemic. We saw when people went home. We saw who wasn't productive. Everyone who owns a business or works in an office with a lot of people, those people that have been there for 10, 20 years, all they're doing is pushing papers around, completely useless, but they're receiving that nice, comfortable paycheck. Well, finally, that's not going to happen anymore. We're going to run this like a true business, like DJT did in 2016, 2020, 2024. And again, the delegation of duty. Boss cannot do this all by himself. And this is why we have patriots by his side and also this beautiful cabinet. But I'll tell you what, this DOGE thing is real, it's transparency. We're going to bring accountability. And finally, we're going to put people at their stake, guys. Go watch Office Space again. It's a tremendous comedy. We're going to clean it out. We're going to clean it out. And on top of it, they have the Doge coin, which Elon has pumped several times in several years. And it's just insane, guys, that we're in this position where there's this Doge meme coin that started out as a kind of like a joke to make fun of other cryptocurrencies. And here we are with Elon running this department. And it's great, man. This is how government should operate.
What would you say you do in a given day, Ardoc? What would you say you do in a given day? You remember that from Office Space? The only thing I'm going to add to that, Ardoc, is we had a guy, me and Hulk were talking about it earlier, that was on Joe Rogan there, and he was basically saying that they need to show up basically once a month. Some of these federal employees only need to show up once a month, and what they'll do is they'll work the last month and then the first day of the next month. So it's like they got to do 2 days in a row, and then you get 28, 29 days off. And a large percentage of this, we've heard how Washington, D.C. has been like a ghost town, pretty much since 2020. And the funny thing is, too, Ardoc, here in Rhode Island, where I work still, we have product line managers at my work that only have to come in, I think it's 2 or 3 days a week. And it's like, it's getting a little ridiculous at this point.
Yep. I'm going to drop 2 numbers, 428 and 99. Do you guys know what those numbers are? Anybody in the chat? Put your guess down. 428 agencies/departments that they want to reduce to 99. That is several of the House Republican members and senators are basically saying, hey, they're on board with DOGE. You've got, like you said, Bernie Sanders, who's on board with it, and then some other Democrats as well. But here's the reality that people going to have to understand. And I think, and we talked about this the other day, so go listen to those shows with Hulkinator that he has out there from, I think, was it Monday and Wednesday morning, but then Tuesday was the afternoon show, right? It was afternoon, yes. I think you did. Okay, so we got into a little bit, and one of the things I just want to remind people is, as they do remove salaries, one of the ways the government has been propping up the economy over the last 3 years, 3.5 years of the Biden administration has been government jobs. The government and sector employment has been jumping up and up and up, and that's been taking the brunt of the unemployment numbers off. So they're kind of offsetting the unemployment numbers in the private sector. We're going to have to balance that out, because as you see those people lose their jobs and they go out seeking work, we have to have work for them to do. Otherwise, we are going to find ourselves in some issues statistically and economically. The other thing, though, that I think this is where Trump has, where your first comments were Miller, I think that was Miller, was talking about, is we've got to get the economy cranking again and get rid of the sanctions impact which affects the inputs, the raw material inputs for fuel, energy, and labor, food. Food and energy are these two basic raw materials that filter into everything in the freaking economy. And if we can get a handle on those through, fixing the sanctions problem and hopefully not causing more of a problem with the trade war and these tariffs, which we'll talk about later on, then we have a chance. We have a chance to make sure our economy gets back on track, because Biden's goal, remember, was to weaken our economy and Europe's economy. And Europe's economy has been weakened far worse than ours. But both of us are weak compared to what is happening in the global South. So just keep that in mind as we go in these first 2 years. They're going to do everything they can to keep Trump bogged down in foreign issues so he can't focus on domestic.
Other thing to pay attention to is hiring practices. About 50,000 a month into government jobs. That's offsetting that inflation, and also the illegal immigrants coming in, paying taxes, all those sort of things on these jobs are also helping with inflation. So that's the other thing you got to balance. If Trump's going to come in and take the illegals out, obviously it leaves America jobs, but then again, the economy is going to go down a little bit because we're moving that money input. So it's going to be a balancing act on how they're going to get it done. And every single one of the people out of Trump administration has said that this is going to be a bumpy start. It's not going to be easy. It's not hopes, dreams, and rainbows. It's going to be a lot of potholes as we get down the road over here. We want to go back to the front right here. And again, Speaker Johnson has been meeting with DOGE and Trump. They seem to be all on the same page. And a couple of remarks from him.
Mr. Speaker, some labor unions are already fighting back. They've already signed contracts to try and get this, that they could be able to work from home, things like that. Your reaction to that?
Well, there was a report that came out today. I don't know if you all have seen it, but someone did a little survey of how many federal employees are actually working in the office. By one estimate, it may be about 1% if you don't count the security personnel that are covering these buildings. That is absurd, and it's not something the American people would stand for. And so one of the first things that I think you'll see is a demand from the new administration and from all of us in Congress that federal workers return to their desks and get back to the work that they're supposed to be doing. I think that is common sense. What you're going to see here, the overriding theme here, is a return to common sense and a return to accountability and efficiency in government. I think that's going to serve the people well. There'll be a lot more to tell.
IRS has been trying to keep the work from home restrictions in place from the COVID stuff. They are almost done and finalized with plans to hold that working context together until 2029. So they are definitely working ahead, and these are some of these things that they're trying to get done before Trump gets into office. So the IRS is the closest to getting it done. I'm not too sure about some of the others that they're trying to hold on to also. What else do we want to get into over here? So Elon Musk is finalizing his meeting with Senate Majority John Thune, talked about what needs to be done to slash the federal. So deleted the tweet over there. I don't know exactly what's going on down there. I can't seem to find that tweet anymore. But anyways, Elon brought the kid out there. Just want to point that out, that he's bringing his kid everywhere. You can see also there with Speaker Johnson. So these guys are all on the same team itself. And again, this is Speaker Johnson being asked the same question that our doc was addressing earlier. They're taking those 429 down to 99. And he says, I certainly hope so. It seems like he's going to play on the team. So that's that. Jim Jordan saying the same thing. They're all saying, let's roll. But then again, let's get down to the pardon stuff and some of the decisions coming up in Congress.
Let me say a word about Hunter Biden. A lot has been said and written about the pardon. President Biden is letting his son off the hook for the federal crimes that he committed. This weekend, of course, he pardoned Hunter. And it's important to point out, and everyone has, and even many Democrats are now expressing their great disappointment and their dismay, because the president promised us over and over and over, repeatedly, unequivocally. He told the American people that he would not issue a pardon for his son, and then he did it. It was more than 10 occasions. We have the receipts. It's all on video. They made formal, official declarations to that point. The White House said he wouldn't do it, but he did. So they misled the American people. And a lot has been recounted over the last couple of days since that happened, that it's just like when he said the border was secure. It's just like when he said that Bidenomics was working great for the American people. It's just like when he denied or tried to cover up his obvious mental acuity and decline. And it's just like when he insisted that the catastrophic Afghanistan withdrawal was somehow a success. This pardon is a perversion of justice, and it is a utter disregard for the rule of law, and it further undermines the people's faith in our system of justice. So we have reform on the way, and it cannot happen soon enough. And you've heard us say many times, you've heard me say many times as a former constitutional law attorney litigator, that this is one of the greatest concerns I have, when the people believe that there are two tiers of justice. And the current occupant of the White House emphasizes that point. It makes it very difficult. They have done, in my view, the Biden family, almost irreparable damage to our system of justice. So we have a lot to repair.
Interesting. Are you muted, Hulk?
Yeah, it's interesting. No, yeah, just a little bit. I had to bring down the audio. I was reaching for a knob. Yeah, so it seems like Speaker Johnson's on the game plan. They don't want to make any more decisions or appointments until Trump takes office. So the extra Ukrainian money that they're talking about and all that is basically on hold. They're saying we're waiting for the next boss to come in, and we'll decide what he wants to do with that.
Ooh. So, and you'll probably get to it, so I don't want to really ruin it, but there are some people saying, well, we don't want a preemptive, basic cleaning. You don't want us to clean our slates here. But talking about, some people out there are talking about him pardoning himself, right? And so I was kind of looking up, doing some things here, and had little AI help. It says, various scholars and jurists have weighed in with opinions that are split. For instance, the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel, OLC, in 1974, during discussions about Nixon, suggested that the president cannot pardon himself because it would violate the fundamental rule that no one may be a judge in his own case. And so they basically come to the assumption, or the formulation, that it will probably have to go to the Supreme Court if indeed he goes to do that to himself. So it's pretty interesting, though, and that's the most widespread blanket one that we've ever seen, right? From Hunter. Can you guys remember anything that's been more widespread and lengthy than that?
No, it's been pretty. That's not as blanket as that, and especially not so open and not specific as to the nature of the crime. Now, one thing I will say to this, and I want to talk about it when we get into China. They didn't go far enough. Somebody screwed up. We're going to talk about how they left 2013 open, and 2013 is going to get them in trouble.
And they could also do states too, right? Later on, you could also have states decide,
states can go after him. That's right.
Yeah. So just like they did with Trump in New York and whatnot, they can, go after him, and then we'll decide if those were valid cases or not. Because some would contend that they were ganging up on poor Mr. Trump there, allegedly.
Just a little bit.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Just a little bit. A quick clip of Hunter Biden.
Hey, Hunter, any comment on the pardon? Do you think they're going to overturn it? Do you think the DOJ is going to overturn it? Do you think they're going to overturn it, Hunter?
Still got those nice white teeth, don't he? I thought this was interesting. We're going to get to a couple of these topics here. Just make sure we crack them. Altron, would you read those?
Yeah, the CEO of UHC gets shot and the coverage screams, PSYOP, Trump's off to France, but first, their government falls apart. A tsunami smacks the U.S. West Coast out of nowhere. Trump trolls Justin with a 51st state proposal of Canada. Biden in Africa as a scary new virus pops up. Choctaw girls caught in a huge crypto scam scandal. And Trump's Surgeon General pick reignites the COVID discussions.
Yeah, that's the Florida guy down there, as anybody's paying attention to.
Earthquakes,
it's going to be interesting.
You got earthquakes.
6.5 or something.
We did have a 7.0 off the coast at the Acadian subzone. Anywhere, it's the three plates come together off the northern part of California. There is no tsunami that hit anything. It was no big deal. I never even felt it, but it was a 7.0. But that's 661 miles from me.
Oh, wow.
So that's happening. Long as we're talking about emergencies here, I didn't know that Elon is giving an interview back in 2019, but again, 2018 is the first time he started putting satellites up, And May 23, 2019, he had 60 of them up. And now he's saying since this cell phone type T-Mobile system is up and running, he could serve internet anywhere on the planet for free.
Yes,
If
that's right.
if
I got mine.
the network went down. So I just find this interesting that he's been putting this together way back then when we were all playing QAnon and digging into what was going on, and he's over here making communication satellites and prepping for maybe an alternative. Just saying.
No,
Will
till
he
the
give it
sun.
for free? Hardock, will he give it for free? Because I'm guessing yours wasn't, though, right?
No, God,
I'm saying
no.
he can give it for free in an emergency. He can flip it off.
Well,
Oh yeah.
They're
Yep.
they
getting very
do,
close.
and they do that. They do provide free service for periods, and they can set
But I'm
these up.
talking about cell phones. If there's cell phone
I know.
power goes out, all
Yes.
that, he can supply data for everybody.
Yes, they can. They've got it. You can connect. I think the Android was the first one. I think Apple is just about ready, or they just came out. I can't remember. In order to do the VoIP over the Starlink.
Yep, that is coming. So
Uh,
that was going. I just thought that was interesting. Let's go ahead and pick out. Trump just dropped a bombshell by nominating Billy Long as the former auctioneer to be commissioner of the IRS. He did this to Laura Loomer, but he's said this before. When Laura Loomer got up and started screaming stuff at him. This isn't that clip, but he did the exact same thing.
So one other thing, being an auctioneer in Congress, the way our debt is running out of control, they find it very handy to have Jeff Duncan and myself here in Washington. We are one of the few people that can actually keep up with the national debt. I'm $1 trillion, $2 trillion now, $3 able to buy them, $3 trillion now, $4 trillion, $5 trillion, $6 trillion, $7 able to buy them, $7 trillion, $8 trillion, $9, 10, 11, $11 trillion down here, 12 trillion, 13, you able to buy them, you're out of here, 13 trillion, 14 trillion now, 15, I have sold it, 14.
So there is your IRS commissioner. Thought that was a good point to bring this up. Who holds the most U.S. debt over here? This is from the fallout here with 34 trillion, and surprise, most of it is inside job. Uncle Sam owns 7 trillion to itself, intergovernmental debt, and 5.7 to the patriotic saving bond holders. The Federal Reserve is sitting on 5.2 trillion, with mutual funds and banks grab chunks too. Remember, they keep pushing the debt off to them. Foreign powers relax. China only holds 820 billion. Japan barely holds 1.1 trillion. Other countries hold 5.3. So yeah, we're holding the effing bag when it falls apart. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying.
We owe money to the Federal Reserve Bank. It's not federal. It's not a bank, and from what I understand, it has no reserves. If I'm being correct here, but yeah, that's. I always wondered too. Like at the end of the day, if you could have, oh right, we owe this country this money, and this country owes this country money. Like if everybody said, all right, we're just going to pay everybody off, how would it end up in the wash? Who would end up on top? You know what I mean? And my guess is, these world banks and the Federal Reserves of these different countries.
Well, that's part of what the BRICS situation is working through. They're working through how they can start to balance between these entities, and they've decided on an exchange, if you will. So countries can sit there and go, hey, I want your oil. Oh, I want your grain. Okay, well, I'm selling my grain for this many rupees, and here's the exchange. If you want to pay for it in rubles, or you want to pay for it in US dollars, or you want to pay for it in rupees, they've got an exchange set up so that they can balance that between their central banks. So the central banks initially are going to be balancing between these different countries. Then they're going to have their, we'll call it the state or the local banks, the more private banks, that will be able to talk to each other once they get those systems and platforms developed. And so the central banks will be more of a monitoring and balancing function amongst their own states, so that they can make sure their currencies don't go upside down. The U.S. and the rest of Europe, we kind of do that already through our European Central Bank and the Fed. The problem is that we screw the rest of the world. We screw 2/3 of the world global south and the unbanked, and we use our dollar and our sub currencies like the euro and the pound or whatever as pressuring tools saying, okay, you want to do business on our economies, you got to do business in our currency, and we screw their currencies, we screw their economies as a result of it. And that's how we project power financially. It's part of the financial war. We're going to talk about some of that trade war and what's really happening coming up.
Senator John Cornyn signals that Kash Patel has enough votes to be confirmed by FBI director.
First of all, will Kash Patel be confirmed, as I expect he will be, but you're the guy who knows. What do you think?
Yes, he will be. People I have great respect for, people like Trey Gowdy, have recommended him highly. I'm still looking to schedule a meeting with Kash, but I think, certainly has vast experience, including working on the House Intelligence Committee on the Russiagate scam and the Steele dossier scandal. So look forward to meeting with him. I have met with Pam Bondi the next.
I've never been a real John Cornyn fan, but it makes me a little worried that he's taking the endorsement from Trey Gowdy to pick Kash Patel. We all know about his story and how he made the exit, but again, it is what it is.
Well, John Cornyn, if people don't understand, John Cornyn is the guy that I will probably one day run against and take his Senate seat from. I will run against that SOB before I die and take his Senate seat if he's not already gone. He is a rhino. He's always been a rhino.
Let's skip him. Let's stay on Kash. You're all over the place, Art.
No.
It's not.
He doesn't support Kash. But what the issue is that none of the GOP are willing to break ranks and publicly go against the president, and that's why Kash is going to pass. And the same thing is happening with Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, we'll see about that, dude. That's an iffy thing over that thing. But again, they keep telling him to stand firm, which is good. But again, I want to throw this clip out of an interview about a year or so ago with Glenn Beck, just to make sure who we're listening to.
I never believed that the CIA killed Kennedy.
No. You're talking to a guy that's read the entire JFK file.
You've seen all the secret stuff?
I've seen all of that, and I've seen the 7 pages of the 9/11 report. I've seen it all.
You don't say that to people that you can't tell what you saw. Should the Kennedy stuff be released?
Yes.
Is there anything there that is like, is anybody alive?
The problem is, the things that we can't release have nothing to do with the questions you guys are asking. That's about as far as I can go on it. But like the answers you guys want, you pretty much have them. There's very minimal stuff that can't be seen for things that you wouldn't even think are related to that.
Why can't we release them?
And you're thinking temporally, like, did it stop back then? Right? You know, the way intelligence works is you're always developing it. Where did I get that? Where did that go? Oh, hey, I found that guy 5 years ago. Let's go talk to him. Where does that get us? You know, it's a little bit bigger of a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, it's the same. Look, so the 7 pages of the 9/11 report, yes, overnight, that needs to come out. I'm telling you, that's got to go. And there will be some people that are pissed off.
I never believed.
Name to remember. Reaction there, Tron?
Well, this is important, guys, because Kash Patel has always been on the sidelines, and he is one of the few that actually wrote several books that helped win our election. He didn't go write a book about, you know, his personal involvement here and there. He did expose the swamp with government gangsters and an amazing children's book, The Plot Against the King, which, you know, the 4-year election, guys, again, the persecution. But most importantly, much like DOGE, he brings the transparency and also rebuilding the public trust in our 3-letter agencies. This is what we didn't have before, guys. And remember, the FBI, this was a political organization. This wasn't, they were heavily biased. We've seen that through the files. They went through Twitter with the influence of our tax dollars and persecuted us as we the people because we were so efficient during 2019, 2020, and beyond. And here we are still kicking their ass. But this is again, he feels like he's one of us, man, only because we've been so entrenched since the beginning. He's been in the drops, Kash Patel, a name to remember. He's always been there. And again, most importantly, him, Devin Nunes, back in the day, they've seen it all, whether it's JFK or 9/11. This means D-class. And again, boss can't do it all himself. Delegation of duty. And this is, I mean, this is huge, guys. Whether he lasts 6 months or a year or even longer is to be determined. We know how boss likes to operate from the sidelines, but this is a fantastic pick. I almost didn't believe it when I first saw it. And most importantly, the left absolutely hate it. And that's how effective this
First
is.
of all, will Kash Patel be confirmed as I...
Whoa.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to play that. Accidentally hit my ear.
That was a great transition. It was great.
He was
right
playing the Grammy music off. And if I could just add, guys, I'll try to find it and find the link and drop it in the chat. But there's a very excellent documentary style interview of a guy who was in the CIA, and he was working with all these people, met Lee Harvey Oswald, met all these different people, was basically telling a lot of stuff and a lot of people that were involved. And he adds names, places, dates, and things like that. It's very, very well done. So I would say, and it's interesting too. Any thoughts on that, Ardoc or Hulk, about, he's like, yeah, the things you guys are asking the questions about, like, it's not about that, it's about other things. And so that's
It's
very
probably
weird.
their system that they put together. I mean, we pretty much know what happened to JFK in that, because Trump released a lot of that stuff at the same time that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page stuff was coming out, and they dumped a lot of stuff. And it even said that there was a second shooter. They didn't want to let us know because it was a conspiracy. I think they're talking about the George Bush stuff and all those sort of things that get into the operation and how it still continues to this day, I think is what he's alluding to. The other thing you guys talk about is the Kash Patel, Devin Nunes. Remember, there were 2 investigators on that team. The other one was Ezra Watnick Cohen. It's the other one that was on there. And this is Kash Patel from a long time ago. And if you haven't seen this yet, you're in for a surprise.
When I go to live speaking events, a lot of people bring up Q and a lot of these other theories. And I'm like, look, there's a lot of good to a lot of it. But if we don't unite on the one thing that we want, which is America First candidates, be President Trump or senators or governors or attorney generals, then we're going to fail. You saw what happened in 2020 when we did not have the right state attorney generals marching for us, when we did not have the right governors marching for us, when we did not have the right elected representatives marching for us in the halls of Washington. And so that's what I try to remind people. I'm like, there's a lot of good there, but we also got to go out there and try to quell some of the people who have been fed these conspiracy theories, but more importantly, they've been fed them to believe them that they're actually true and accurate. And I try to dispel them as best as I can by coming on platforms where you have great viewerships like yours.
Yeah. You know, Q had a whole lot of really wonderful things to say about you back 2018 and before, before we even knew who you were, had heard you. You were kind of behind the scenes. And then to me, all of a sudden, you have just come out on the scene almost like it was a planned event, you know, almost like it was Kash Patel's time to get out there and tell the truth, you know, and that's things we look at that we've heard from Q. And it's hard for us to understand. I can hear exactly what you're saying, but it's hard for us to understand, wow, okay, we're hearing what we're hearing, but Q has been so right on so many things. I'll get off that subject.
No, he has. And I agree with you. He has. He has. And you got to you got to harness that following that Q has garnered and just sort of tweak it a little bit. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, you know, he should get credit for all the things he has accomplished, because it's hard to establish a movement. Let's call it that because it's what it is. And he's put out so many names, you know, not just mine, but he's put out so many great American figures who have been out there pounding, like the Johnny Ratcliffes of the world, the Whitakers, the Grinnells, all these folks that were in the Trump administration that people barely knew about. They know because of large part because he was able to put out their work.
Ron, reaction?
Well, this is 1,000% correct, guys. And this is why Kash Patel is in this position. I truly believe is because whether or not he was part of this less than 10 or not, he sort of is along the way. And this is excellent what he said, that you kind of have to graduate, take the information and run with it. And finally, here we are in November with the win. And a lot of those drops were not necessarily for us. They were there to instill fear within the deep state. Trust Kansas, trust Ray, trust this person. It was fully leveraged along this whole way. And this is why we don't need necessarily new drops now. The crumbs are rocking and rolling through Boss, through Dan, through the whole team that he just mentioned there. And this solidifies that Kash Patel knows the drops And think about it, guys. If you told us back then that Kash Patel was going to be FBI director, I would have told you you're nuts. Again, this is the timeline that you can't necessarily write, but like as Kash Patel kind of alludes to, it changes. There's audibles along the way. It's not necessarily from point A to point B. You're going to have some obstacles along the way, obviously, but there's always contingency plans, and we're always going to come out ahead. And this is fabulous, guys. Again, the decodes are necessary, but there comes a time to graduate and just go with the information. And like Doc was alluding to, we the people have to put ourselves in position to take on the governors, to take on the senators in our states that we don't want to flee. This is flight versus fight, and we're not going anywhere, guys. Hang tight. It's good.
Heck yeah.
My comment.
We'll go on.
Okay, I want to say something on this because I've been listening to you guys for 5 minutes on this now. Kash Patel, screw all this conspiracy stuff. Screw it. Okay. Yeah, do the disclosure. Get it out there. No government secrets. You guys have heard me on that. Full disclosure of who government assets are in the media. Okay, great. Do that. Okay. Because that's the Mockingbird thing, the program that continues and has been reshaped and has been part of the CIA's information source for years, since 1950s. The FBI, which is where he will be in charge of the 7th floor, needs to be completely deconstructed. The FBI is inherently and intrinsically involved in a lot of foreign intelligence criminal investigations all over the world, including Europe, including Ukraine. A lot of the, like when we played the clip the other day, Hulk.
Tell me the new stuff.
Hold on. Hold on.
New stuff.
Hold on. When we played the clip the other day with him and the first guy you played the clip with, Blaze TV. One of the other little clips that they talked about was the laptop. Okay, and who has the laptop? The FBI director. We played that one last week or whatever. There's other stuff that Ukraine provided to the FBI that the FBI and DOJ has in their possession, and that's something he can release. That's something that Biden's afraid of. That's something Obama's afraid of. That's part of the reason why the pardons came out.
Are you talking the good stuff coming back from Ukraine that they're trying to quell any investigation on, those sort of things, or bad stuff against Trump?
The bad stuff against the Biden and Obama administration, the bad stuff against the Hillary Clintons, the stuff that we already know about, all that evidence was provided from foreign governments and multiple foreign governments, and the FBI has it.
Including Epstein and all the rest of the stuff.
And
under his control.
He did say he wanted to do that too, Ardoc. He said basically, like, all these people, you get 7,000 people that, should be out there investigating crimes, but they're all trying to posture for positions and stuff to get their next up shot in position. But, you got some people out there that, talk crap about Kash, and I have to remind people, because some people did, a lot of people came after the 2020 election, right? And now they've been doing this for like the last 4 years, and this guy's doing this and that and the other, and you hear the same old thing that you heard back in 2016, 17. Oh, he's making money selling a book, and it's like, dude, let's look at what this guy did. Remember, like, I forgot if it was Ardoc or Hulk in the beginning, we were talking about him and Nunez, right? And Hulk, you were mentioning it. That's who it was. And Ezra Cohen Watnick, right? He, with Devin Nunez, stood on the friggin' steps of, what was it, I don't even know, Capitol Hill, White House, wherever it was, and they were like, look, this is what's going on here. And then you had the Nunez memo, and then remember you had the Schiff memo that countered the Nunez memo, which one of them was full of Schiff. It was full of a lot of Schiffy stuff. Adam Schiffy stuff. So yeah, whatever people want to say, he and Devin Nunez, rocked it out in the very beginning.
Special Activities Division.
Yeah.
FBI maintains.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, FBI maintains special activities tactical groups, and when some of that information that has been classified, that has been in the possession of select individuals and handed down and kept very quiet to protect the bureaucrats, because they know they've done wrong, and they protect it because they don't want to be sued. They don't want certain, and this is part of the way it works in Washington, D.C. They cover each other up. Okay,
Yeah.
this what was that, the two-step Potomac two-step or whatever. Okay, imagine you have a memo that says you sent over 13 guys and ammunition and sniper rifles to Ukraine for Maidan, for snipers that you hire, mercs that you hired and arranged through your FBI SAD, and they were used to kill a bunch of can get.
Yep, had to mute that little part. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry.
Other things coming out. Again, FBI whistleblower is basically saying that Kash Patel is under a counterintelligence investigation due to the hack that was released, I think 2-3 weeks ago. They said Iran hacked Trump and Kash Patel. Well, now they're monitoring all communications because they never got a peek at any of the nominations and sent through FBI screening. Which they're all crying about. They need to be authorized by the FBI first. And again, Trump has said that we are using the third-party contractor authorizations for all the people we're bringing into that say all these people are good to go because the FBI is the one that uses these people, so everything should be good, right? And then when we get in, we'll do the final FBI stuff. So they're kind of freaking out. So this is happening over there. They're playing both sides of the freaking coin.
My guess is allegedly they've been probably. My guess allegedly is probably they've been doing it the whole time. Most likely allegedly.
Just a little bit. Here, I thought this was interesting. Here, might as well get to some of the other pardons that might be coming.
The question is, would they accept a pardon? Because if you don't think you did anything wrong, which they didn't, they might want to not take a pardon. But I will say this: you're talking about an unprecedented crew of people coming in. They're listen, even if they don't indict you, they could investigate you into bankruptcy, torture you with FBI investigations. Kash Patel is evidently going to be our next FBI director. Is that what you want to be dealing with for the rest of your life?
Trump during the time he was out of office.
President Trump got actually indicted by a grand jury.
They tried to bankrupt him. They raided his house.
The question is,
it's just funny to listen to freaking Circle Tark.
She's being sued by Kash Patel, by the way.
Oh, yeah. They got the letter from the lawyer for the cease and desist, and the next one would be a lawsuit. So we're talking Fauci, Rosenstein, pretty much anybody at the DOJ. They're talking about, what's his name? The special counsel dude off the top of my head, I can't think of his name. Jack Smith. The entire team's going to get a blanket immunity. So they're trying to get ahead of all this to see if they can do this. So, I mean, Adam Schiff, Fauci, all the rest of the guys have been talking about it. And the other person that's asking for a pardon over here is the guy that shot Ashley Babbitt. He seems to have a little bit of problems with drinking, leaving weapons around. Just recently, within the last year, it had come out that he was denied a gun purchase by the FBI because he seems to have a problem. So, yeah, that's the other guy. Any people you want to throw out for presidential pardons? Obama?
Oof.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then it's almost like if you do that, then you're kind of alleging that they did something, right? So it's like, and I think that's why you're hearing from certain people like, oh, we don't want any preemptive pardons out here. It's like, don't put my name in that list because you're basically making people think that I did things, which we know what they did and didn't do.
Well, if you're a betting person, Polymarket's got Fauci on there. Will Biden pardon Fauci? Seems to be interesting because Elon Musk and Marjorie Taylor Greene and DOGE all want to go after this guy, which I'm 100% okay with.
Fauci said,
go ahead.
Fauci came out and said he does not want a pardon.
He doesn't?
Nope.
Or he won't accept it?
He came out.
With all due respect, Senator, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't want a pardon. I don't need a pardon.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was great. All right, keep going. What else do we want to get? Oh, yeah. Congressional's heating up over the misconduct of special counsel Jack Smith and his team. We've got letters, demand letters, not to shred anything. And it seems that they've been working with some of the investigators and kind of cheating the information. So we're going to see what happens with this here very shortly. when the next administration comes on. But again, everybody is paying attention to know what Jack Smith did to Trump. The question is are they going to do anything about it and get away from the angry letters?
Where will Obama go, Tron, if he doesn't get a pardon?
Indonesia?
That's going to be Kenya, back to citizenship.
right.
Yeah. And this is,
That's right.
why most of our Congress hold Israeli dual citizenship for their escape. Yep.
Booms.
Wow. It's coming. What else do we want to get into? Okay, we got the United Health CEO killing here. Surveillance video shows the suspect in the fatal shooting of the United Healthcare arriving at the scene more than 10 minutes before the attack. Everybody's seeing the actual shooting, but this is what the police department is showing also. It also is reporting out of CNN over here that he showed up on a bus. And he used fake ID to rent a small room in one of the hostels in New York. All right. The FBI has dropped these photos here as saying this particular person is the suspect in the shooting itself. Did you guys see this?
Yeah, that looks like a woman on the left. And they actually 4 hours ago, Don Jr. put out like a call to action to find this person. And I just dropped you a link there.
Bottom right corner right there.
Yeah, and allegedly that well, that's even.
Well, this is the AI enhanced version. They got a close up of it. So this is the close up of it.
Looks familiar. A little Arkansas action, yeah.
But there's the story of that guy that said he tracked the suspect on one of those little rent-a-bikes or whatever it was, that picture of that guy looks just like
I know,
he's got
right?
the same cheekbones, the same chin as the guy in that photo.
It's his cousin or something, right? But yeah, I mean, he went right in there. I mean, you got to know that they have cameras everywhere. So, like, just kind of brazenly doing that. And then you had people saying, well, he's Jason Bourne. He's like a professional hitman or something. But then you see he had a suppressed weapon that wouldn't chamber the second round or the third round or whatever it was. He had to keep.
That's common.
Find the truth. Nope. It isn't. We'll get there. Here, want to throw this out there with the mask and everything was looking at. Just ran by this and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, let's see the teeth though. Wow. That is crazy.
Tell the difference on an open street? I'm just saying.
Well, that's crazy,
like
but yeah, he does look like that person, but you got to see if you go back to the previous picture, he's smiling, you can see his teeth, so it's a little different. But I'll say, dude, that is uncanny. That is crazy.
What's the story about the suppressor not being a 22? Because
we're gonna get there.
One of the things is very common.
So the other thing that they did find out is on the bullets was written "deny, defend, and depose." Over here, this guy being the leader of the CEO for United Healthcare, which was having their annual shareholder meeting right out front where he was shot at the door. So everybody that went in for this meeting had to walk across the blood or around the body or whatever to go do the meeting because they still had the shareholder meeting. They didn't stop that whatsoever, guys, as long as you're paying attention. This goes back to the book. It says from 2000 or 2001, why insurance companies don't pay claims and what you can do about it. Because the company seems to have a little bit of problem with their AI software where it seems to deny a lot of their medical stuff. So they save a lot of money with their new AI program over here. So we find this really interesting. Why he's going to be pictured with Governor Tim Walz, I don't know. But this is a picture with the CEO right here with Governor Tim Walz, all the same picture here. The Alan over here is saying that due to the insider trading that him and the CFO have done for hundreds of millions of dollars, they're selling all their stock and all that crap, that there was an investigation that was ongoing for the last couple of years, and he was about to turn evidence against the rest of the people at the company, and he got shot. That's what Alan Dershowitz is saying.
You gotta love that clickbait title right there.
Who's also an ex-Epstein lawyer. If we want to
right
put
there.
That in the big circle.
That's the clickbait thing right there. He had to put in Jeffrey Epstein. He couldn't have said, constitutional attorney, Harvard law professor. No, it's Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer because he never represented anybody else other than Jeffrey Epstein ever in his life.
Just saying. People are posting pictures of the actual said bike here. This is not the weapon they're talking about. People are posting this. I went and found this post over here where there's guys talking about the different weapons that this could be possibly done. He has come down to, it says it is this pistol right here, which the action of shooting this weapon, you have to turn this knob. It's like a pull and turn knob back here in the back. So when you're seeing the suspect smack this weapon, it's because he's using this particular weapon that has this turning device on the back, is what this gentleman is saying. As he goes and shoots this gentleman here. And so you can see, you see how he turns it?
And clearly he was targeted because you had people walking by and he paid no mind whatsoever to those people, that woman or whatever it was that walked right by. And just kind of very calmly, right? Like, so I can see where people would say, like, you know, maybe he's a Jason Bourne or a hitman or something like that. But then, you know, it looks like he malfunctioned, I think. But his calmness is pretty interesting. And I saw that guy, Shrek there, Special Forces guy, went over it and said the first shot looked like it hit him in the calf. And he's like, yeah, because he didn't have his arm perpendicular. It was kind of hanging down.
Yeah.
So, you know, hitman professional? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's professional.
But the biggest thing you can put it, wait. The one thing I want to get across to everybody, it doesn't matter about the weapon or any of that stuff. So if they wanted to take the dude out, you go hire a crack addict, you give him some money, some drugs, you give him what he needs. Here's the gun. This is the guy you're going to shoot. And when he gets it done and he escapes on the bike, we'll show it later, then he's going to die of a drug overdose and nobody's going to connect the two. Over, right?
Yeah, this wasn't the crackhead though. This wasn't one of those situations.
Oh, I'm saying ex-military, somebody down on their luck. They need the money. MK Ultra.
This was somebody that had a desire to do this. They just were not very good at it. The weapon that was used. Very often these are low caliber weapons, and when they don't even have enough blowback because of the suppressor to be able to rechamber around. So whether it was the twist knob, you know, single bolt action type of weapon, or if he was trying to clear around, that appeared to be obviously jammed on the second shot, which is very common in a suppressed low caliber weapon like that. You know, but he wasn't a, I'll call it a professional assassin.
He was very calm, knew what he was doing, and it was planned. So whether it's a disgruntled guy that, you know, wife, kids, whatever, died due to medical or whatever, or it's the board about something else, we don't know. But again, it screams PSYOP, boys and girls. What else do we want to get into? This is your deal over here, talking about the gentleman tracking the bike to the location over here. According to HBC News, NYPD told Lyft, which operates City Bike, that the bikes were not used in the shooting. It was used in the transportation and the two areas that the gentleman had gone to. Other things to pay attention to. Would you read this for me, Mr. Space Shot?
Certainly. Colin Rugg says Minnesota police investigated a bomb threat at Brian Thompson's home just 12 hours before he was executed in New York City. The development comes as investigators have zeroed in on a gun store in Connecticut where they suspect Thompson's killer purchased the gun. At the moment, it's unclear if the bomb threat was connected to the shooting. However, the timing is very suspicious. According to the New York Times, investigators say they believe the gun is connected to a Connecticut gun shop and are, quote, trying to determine whether the buyer of the gun could be the suspect. The Times also reports that officers in Maple Grove, Minnesota, investigated a bomb threat at Thompson's Minnesota home just hours before he was killed. Here's a quote. A police report released Thursday says the small suburban department sought help from Minneapolis bomb squad as they searched two residences fruitlessly, the Times reported. And I listened to something where his wife was saying, yeah, he's been getting a lot of threats lately, but he never changed his habits, his travel habits and whatnot, which I don't know would have mattered because, like you guys said, they were having the board meeting right there. So
that's supposedly the guy on whatever bike leaving. Again, the locations he traveled to and the data that they've collected. The gentleman that posted the tweet has disappeared out there. Again, fake ID to check into hostels. So the internet's all over this. This is the one that you're talking about. This guy. This is his particular tweet. We don't know exactly what's going on, but this is the gentleman that mined the data from Lyft. So that's going on over there on that side. As long as we're talking about healthcare or whatnot over here, what was it, Blue Anthem? I can't remember who it was. One of the big
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, it was Blue Shield that says that if you go over your allotted time for your anesthesiologist, we're just going to have to wake you up, and we're not going to pay for those procedures itself. Again, I don't know if it's due to the doctors taking too long on surgeries or whatever, so they're trying to get them to move and do something. I don't know, but they've recanted their claim here at this point, and they're no longer going to want to do that. So they said, don't worry about that. The anesthesiologist is covered. So stuff like that is happening. Weird shit. Again, with Tron, which kid are we gonna pick?
That's right, guys. A, B, C, or D is always A1. There it is, raised by a boss. my suitcase, mama. He was so cute when he had that Eastern European accent when he was younger, and we finally got to hear him speak a couple of days ago. So this is, and this is what we're up against, guys. This is how we won. There it is. Check, guys. This was awesome. What a fine gentleman. Here we go.
I want the drums.
Yes, hello, how are you? In the business. It's very nice to see you. Very nice. I gave him business. It's very nice to see you. Very nice. I gave him a shout out last night. The place went crazy.
He is towering over him. Look at that.
You too, buddy.
He is a head over him.
Can we make him into a
He's got superhuman power somewhere.
Dude, you think he got taller since because remember, Trump said, I forgot if he was 15 at the time or 16. He said back then, and it's a couple of years ago, he was 6'8" back then, and Trump was allegedly 6'4", 6'3". I don't know what they're saying he is now, but he's like a full head above him too. Look at, he makes him look tiny.
Exactly, dude. So I don't know, big things coming. Trump's bringing his kid around a lot, and then Elon's bringing his kid around a lot. So we'll see what happens between the two. As long as we're talking about Trump, ran by this clip over here.
Well, if you were to ask me today if village people would perform at the inauguration, I would probably say not, because we'd be concerned about endorsement. But however, if the president-elect, because the president-elect has done so much for YMCA and brought so much joy to so many people, the song has actually gone back to #1, and it's still #1 today. So if he were to ask village people to perform the song live for him, we'd have to seriously consider it.
Well, we know he watches, so Mr. President-elect, the ball's in your court.
We'll leave that part out. That was just for you guys as we get in there, because it is happening out there. Where are we at on time? We're still good.
Dude, once John Jones started doing that, dude, you started seeing everybody do it. Baseball, not baseball, but football, soccer, many different things, basketball.
No, it's a TikTok trend. It's a TikTok trend. It's a Instagram thought trend. It's everywhere.
I love it, dude. That's great. You see it on TikTok. Okay, so over here, we're going to spend a couple of minutes with some testimony here. Most important one we want to focus on is Secret Service director yelling at each other. So you've got Congress and the Secret Service acting Secret Service director.
Yes, sir, I do. Okay. Is that the remembrance of September 11th? It was. Was it in New York? It was at Ground Zero. Okay. Who's usually at an event like this closest to the President of the United States, security-wise? The SAC of the detail. Special agent in charge of the detail. Were you the special agent in charge of the detail that day? Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. Well, actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the SAC of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills. I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you, Congressman. Were you the special agent in charge? To show respect for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11. Oh, that you're trying to be. Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes. Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this. You are, sir. Gentlemen, and you are out of line. I would like to ask him a question. Please. You are out of line, Congressman. Don't try to bully me. I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are playing politics. I am a public servant who has served this nation, and you won't answer the question on our day, on our country's darkest day.
Committee will come to order. Committee will come to order.
I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that
No,
day?
I wasn't. I was there
No,
representing the
Mr. Chairman,
United
I'm
States
just
Secret
asking you yes or
Service,
no.
sir.
Mr. Fallon, your
and
time's
did not
expired.
affect protective
You know
operations.
why you were there? Because you wanted to be visible, because you are auditioning for this
I was
job.
there to
that
pay
you're not
respect
gonna
for a
get
fallen
till
member of
January
this
20th.
agency.
You endangered
You are
President
out of
Biden's
line,
life,
Congressman.
Vice President
You are out of
Harris's
line.
life, because you put those
You're out
agents
of
out
order.
of position.
Mr.
Did you have a
Chairman.
radio with
Mr.
you?
Fallon,
Did
your
you wear a
time
vest?
has
Did you have a
expired.
weapon?
Mr.
No.
I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
He seems to know some insider baseball where this guy was at during Assassination Day. So we're yelling at each other. Seems really interesting.
They seem to be great friends.
Well, the Biden administration is swapping things around there at the top level. I think Hulk, who you were talking about there earlier.
Go and read the tweet now. Go ahead. Read the tweet.
Dan Scavino. Boy, this is Tron. Tron has to read a Scavino tweet. Come on.
Interesting. Hearing from friends in D.C. that the United States Secret Service is making some moves at the top, spreading around some promotions to Biden's people before President-elect Boss and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance take office at noon, 1/20/25. Guys, look at that right there already. And this is where they're shifting around, whether or not, and this is, I don't understand, guys, why between November 5th and January 20th, we have to wait this time for them to clean up house. They're going through the shredding machines that we saw outside. And again, they're moving around this chessboard, but holy cow, man, Boss is going to come in there and absolutely demolish this entire domino effect. Jenga coming down, dude.
Exactly. And even Ezra Watnick Cohen in here checking in. Unfortunately, this is also happening at the DOD. Yep, they're trying to round
Actually,
them
that's
up.
not very common that Ezra responds to it.
No.
Dan.
No,
That's
it's
very
not.
interesting. I like that.
I like it.
Credit card fees, yeah, blah blah blah. Racist chick, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, let's get to this.
Roger! My man, I didn't even see. How could I not see my right? God bless you. I'm doing
Oh,
He said
boy.
Roger Stone's Ron DeSantis is a piece of crap. So again, he was the one that was being tossed around of one of the other names out there, but we all remember who got back from him was some Bush money, and then he got really loud and wanted to run for president for a little bit. Just remember Ron DeSantis came in and also decided to let his chief of staff run for the congressional seat that is now open and not just appoint somebody for it.
And don't forget our boy Roger there was saying, F these people. And these people, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was talking about Trump and his family, because he was not too happy around that time there. I think it was J6 Day, where that documentary was, remember it was AI. And then they claimed copyright. And then people realized, oh wait, you can't copyright AI. So yeah, it was real.
Yep.
There are reports that DeSantis may be the backup pick for Hegseth.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Now, what do you think? You think is that a? Yeah, we were talking about it a little while ago too. I'm thinking like maybe it was a threat. Oh, you don't want Pete? How about we put Ron out there just as a threat and not gonna actually do it? But I don't know if they would like you were saying, Hulk. Maybe they would actually like DeSantis in that role better than Pete.
Exactly. That's another thing. I mean, get their controlled op in there. It would make sense if they were trying to push DeSantis, who got money from Bush and was trying to run for president over Trump. Just thinking. Also, Bannon got the handshake out there. I haven't seen any interviews or anything come out yet. So just kind of watching, seeing what's happening out there. Local news. We want to get into the Pete Hegseth case. Again, they're saying he's an alcoholic and all those sort of things and all the bad things you could possibly say. And Trump basically said, we're still backing you. We don't care what's happening. You are the man for the job because you're going to put war fighters first back into the DOD. This is his response on Megyn Kelly about his drinking problem.
They're not upset about your drinking?
You know what? There's an interesting one there. First of all, I've never had a drinking problem. No one's ever approached me and said, "Oh, you should really look at getting help for a drink." Never. I've never sought counseling, never sought help. I respect and appreciate people who do. But what do guys do when they come back from war? Oftentimes, have some beers. How do you deal with the demons you see on the battlefield? Sometimes it's with a bottle. Unfortunately, tragically, for too many guys, it's with the bottle, and then it's depression and even worse, suicide. I mean, we've got an epidemic of that in our country. Thank God, by the grace of God, I found my chapters of purpose that pulled me out of that.
They're not upset about.
And the other thing that he's known for is on his third wife cheating and those sort of things that we've all heard before. But again, everybody's got dirt. Everybody's made mistakes. Trump's done the same thing. We're going to tell you right up front. They're all been. We've all been down this. But again, at this point, unless they got a laptop and a court case and an island and they're worshiping Satan and shit like that, I'm not really all that worried about it right now at this point. Comments?
I was going to say too the same thing. Like, what is Trump on? Number 3? I think he's on 2 or 3. I know he had. Was he married to Marla Maples? I know it was Ivanka, right? Or Ivana. Marla Maples was he married to? Yeah, and then Miss Melania with the one with the beautiful eyes.
Go ahead.
The thing that I'm hearing about. Well, okay, keep going. You got more stuff on Hegseth. Keep going.
Yeah, Rick Scott's been endorsed him. He's out there. Bill Haggerty's saying he's good to go. Holdouts over here going to be listed over here. Thune is also one of them. So we're going to see how they're all going to see how they're going to go. But then this is also the same people that voted for Merrick Garland. So those are your holdouts there. So just think about that.
Joni Ernst has said that she kind of opposes him and would ask that Trump nominate her. No kidding. and Lindsey Graham was on that list, and Lindsey Graham's out spouting stuff again. And there's a poll out, a literal poll. Who do you trust more, Lindsey Graham or Santa Claus? And Santa Claus is like won by 99% to 1%.
Well, she's the ringleader of the rap Epstein against Pete Hegseth, if anybody's paying attention. Again, Trump is saying, it says, as long as Donald Trump wants me in the fight, I'm going to be standing right here in this fight, and this fight is bringing our Pentagon back to what it needs to be. He's talking about the war fighters, and he's still getting backed by Trump, and he says, you're going to be attacked and nuked. Good luck. See if you can last. Here, we want to get a quick little topic right here because John Fetterman still seems to amaze me.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also. I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like, now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Senator, many of Trump's.
Wow. He looks good. Which one is
that? It makes it out there. I love it. Just a couple more of these over here. Oh, yeah. Jeff Bezos. We got to get a couple more before I kick it to you, Mr. Ardock.
What about the idea that he thinks that the press is the enemy?
Well, I think I'm going to try to talk him out of that idea. I don't think the press is the enemy. And I don't think, he's also, you've probably grown in the last 8 years. He has too. Like This is not the case. The press is not the enemy.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too.
Have you talked?
Let's go persuade him of this. No, let's
have you
do
talked
it
to him
now,
about it?
but you and I should go. Let's go talk to him.
If we could try.
I really don't. I think that this is absolutely. I don't think he's going to see it the same way. But maybe I'll be wrong.
Was that always your thought, by the way?
What I've seen so far is that he is calmer than he was the first time and more confident, more settled.
What about the idea that he thinks that the press?
So the other one that's been there and wants to be on the council for their internet and social media stuff is Zuckerberg over there. He's been over there a lot trying to sweet talk Trump into whatever idea he wants to get Facebook into whatever direction they need to go. So people are aligning, and again, RDoc is going to go over a little bit more in the detail of the landmines and the other stuff that we have out there that nobody has seen yet. Do I have anything else here to get in here? Did you want to mention this sort of thing here now, or you want to wait about that until you get to the chip stuff?
If you got make sure you bring that up during the thing. Keep it on your screen handy.
I'm gonna save that. The other thing we want to get into a little bit about crypto, just a little bit here, and then I'll kick it back to RDoc. But just to kind of give you guys an idea of the blockchain.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We can rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stock. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. If you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment.
And the other thing is the United States government has a blockchain voting system that's owned by the U.S. mail. Yay! So there's a lot of things that could be done with this.
So the company that I worked for when we were in Dubai, this is actually the project we worked on, which is each person is an NFT. Each person then, because they're an NFT, is able to have a unique identity, and they have a unique key that can't be really stolen because there's some ways that we have that are proprietary, and they get a governance token on top of that allows them to remain anonymous. So they have privacy rights guaranteed, their uniqueness guaranteed, their security guaranteed, but they're still private. And then they can go and engage in commerce in the digital economy on various different platforms called dApps that allow them to buy and sell and engage on traditional finance side with normal banking and purchases through stores and credit card companies, as well as on the crypto side. That is where the world is going financially, and the way 2/3 of the world in the BRIC side is already miles and miles ahead of the U.S. and the collective West.
Yeah.
Remember those six teams? Those 6 teams that I said were working on stuff? Elon Musk's and his team, they're years behind.
That's interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, he's way behind the curve and trying to make his own open AI system away from the rest of the system. So that's happening. David Sachs is going to be picked for the AI and crypto deal. They're going to probably write a whole bunch of the legislation. Do you think that's a good choice? I don't know any history about him.
Is this SEC chairman, or who are you talking about?
He's going to be AI and cryptos are. They're going to write the framework for the new digital currency system that they're going to put in.
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of AI stuff.
This isn't the guy we were talking about yesterday, is it? That was the Bear Stearns guy?
This guy.
Oh no. Yeah, whatever. There's a bunch of these guys out there.
He got picked. So
Yeah, I know.
well, see what's going to happen with that. So we're going to go spend some time with some Haktua girl over here. Just to let everybody pay attention to this little launch on their crypto meme coin, just like Doge, right? Just like Doge. Just a couple little clips here. As you're explaining on how everybody's earning money because people start asking questions.
But I mean, let's be clear, like all of us, as much as we can say it's experimental, like we all run, like I run a business as well. And I have operational costs, and it's cool when, like, for example, those operational costs, for example, afford me to go fly somewhere internationally first class, for example. I'm just using this as an example. So there's like an incentive for someone who's like operating a business to basically like have a successful operation that's going. So I'm sort of curious, like, not for the token price itself, but just in terms of the fact that there's fees that are being generated, there's an actual like
Hey
source
guys,
of income.
I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
What the hell? Who's that?
So she decided to go to bed after everybody's losing millions and millions of dollars in this crypto scam. So let's bring in the guy who started asking the right questions and made everybody nervous because he lost money too.
I have questions. I have questions. I'm raising my hand. Hey guys.
What CoffeeZilla?
Hey, this is one of the most miserable, horrible launches I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, then why the fuck are you on?
I've been tracing it on chain for a while. You guys generated over $1 million in fees while y'all's fans got rug pulled. There was snipers, but there was also insider trading directly linked to y'all's creator account. What are you guys doing?
No. That's not true.
That is true. That's a fact.
No, it's not.
Well, it's a fact, and you can see it on chain. So
yeah, we know. We trust me. We were there. We could answer that.
You know about the insider trading?
No, there's no insider trading. That's
How much did y'all get doing a pre-sale? How much did y'all make? And y'all made millions on fees from this little scheme. Who's making millions of dollars on fees from this rug pull?
That's not a scheme.
Who made the money? You haven't answered the question. Who made the money? How much did Haley Welsh make of that million, 1.8 million?
It's a foundation. No, I don't own the foundation either. A foundation in the Cayman Islands.
Who profited? Over $1 million was just made.
I'm telling you, a foundation.
Like, what the hell? This is the worst tokenomics I've ever seen, and it is a scam.
Of course it is. It's a meme coin, dumbass. It's a meme coin.
Wait,
Coin?
one more funny quick.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing.
Ardak, do you think she's probably making some money off it, but she don't strike me as the evil genius type. She's just they're using her name. And maybe she's
just using her name. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And they're kicking her some royalties or whatever.
But the guys, okay, so the guys, ran the project. They created anybody can create a freaking meme coin. There's so many meme coins. There's like 355 Diddy meme coins. P. Diddy meme coins. I'm not kidding.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. We were talking about the other day.
You
Okay, so and every single one of them are essentially people, degens, we call them degens, like that guy on the phone that was concerned because he got rug pulled because he wasn't one of the guys that was able to snipe in and get out at the top and rug everybody else, because there's always somebody that gets rugged in these stupid meme coins. This is the Wild West aspect of this stuff. This is like, the guys out in the gold mines in San Francisco and the Klondike and the railroad guys. They were scamming people and taking people's money and doing all kinds of stuff until everything settled down and the U.S. Marshals pulled into town. That's exactly what's going on here. Hopefully with Trump and the SEC and everybody setting some frameworks and setting some actual standards that people can start understanding this is the boundaries of the sandbox you can play in, the U.S. can start engaging in the digital finance world and without these scammers taking advantage. There's still going to be scammers. There's still going to be people trying to steal your identity and all that kind of crap, just like with credit cards. You're never going to get rid of it. The issue is, though, for the rest of the world, the real companies, the real ones making developments, developing technology, really trying to do stuff, they can have a framework where they know they're not going to get sued by the government and have years and years of hard work and development go down the crapper because some government banker wants to shut them down.
Exactly. So yeah, even Russian president says who can ban Bitcoin? Nobody. So yeah, everybody's on par for that. I got to talk about the alien shit. I had forgotten about this. I've seen so many videos of this being posted all over. We're seeing reports. I don't know if they're UFOs. Don't know if they're drones. Could they be Chinese drone state actors? I don't know. But the Pentagon's getting involved trying to figure out what they're got to do with these things. We've heard from Mayorkas. They only have 2 drone teams in the entire United States to deal with these types of systems. I don't think these are those types of drones. I don't know if all this UFO stuff is real or not. I don't know where to put it, but the points I want to point out is, again, Pentagon's talking about it. They're going to talk with experts. These guys over here talking about the UK incursion over there as a national emergency. And again, they're trying to protect the nuclear assets of these bases. They're a little concerned with these drones, same drones they see all over the place. This guy that's been around for a while, he's saying that the people that are reporting the planes that look weird up in the sky, I've seen lots of videos of this. They're saying the planes look smaller than they're supposed to, whatever. This guy is saying that the secret government, whatever, has UFO craft that they built to make it look like alien craft, and then the aliens have stuff to make it look like the United States stuff. Again, I don't know where the truth is, but it would make sense if they're both playing psyops on both sides. And again, this guy's basically saying the same type of thing and all those sort of things. So again, we haven't shot any of this stuff down, but they're flying all over the place. So Ardoc, what is the stuff we're seeing? Is it Chinese balloon drones and shit? Or are we seeing UFOs flying around? Because disclosure coming and space shots prophecy is coming true that he talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Do I know directly what each one of these things are? No.
I'm just talking in general. What are we seeing now?
In general, okay. I think there's some real craft out there that you're seeing now because of the heightened nuclear tensions. I think some of the craft are definitely man-made. You've got nuclear bombers, getting moved. We've moved B-52s and other stuff into the UK and into Sweden. So there's definitely going to be an interest both from foreign craft as well, foreign surveillance, as well as, we'll call it, non-terrestrial foreign surveillance that are very concerned about some things. The Chinese just launched.
Right.
The Chinese just launched their drone carrier. They left the port just this week, so they have a whole entire carrier of drone craft.
So I'm just saying, I've seen pictures like this from everywhere, from the UK to California, guys, flying all over the place, Tennessee, New York. I mean, any place you could possibly think of. I've seen numerous reports. Tron, am I on crack? Or what have we seen?
No. What we're seeing is the disclosure aspect for us to get to Mars. So we can't just get there from Elon doing this and that. It has to be, well, this is a story. We found this in Area 51, reverse engineer it, just like we went to the moon. It was against the Soviets. We had to have that, necessary USA first type of idea. So for America to go to Mars, this is that disclosure for Elon to sort of step up and be like, yes, we have this technology. We've had it the whole time. And sort of like, here's what it kind of is. And now
we're already on Mars.
Well,
we're already
since the 80s. We've been Mars. We've been to Mars since the 80s, obviously, but the normal 9 to 5 soccer mom doesn't know that. So this is disclosure for the soccer moms out there that we have technology. We've been using it. We've been utilizing it. It's military grade, and this is how we're gonna go interplanetary, baby. What's up, BC boys?
So will we get to get a ride from the aliens to Mars? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if that's what you want, they'll have a little green man come down and stick a finger up your butt. That's cool. I mean, if that's what it takes, man. Maximum propulsion, baby. We're going to Mars.
Wants to get probed. I thought that was a pretty slick idea, though, dude. Right? I never thought about that, Hulk, until we were talking earlier when you mentioned that. It's like, why would they drive come here from off world and fly around in saucers when they could just mimic one of our planes or something like that? If indeed they were coming from another place, if indeed it wasn't militaries from all around the world that are posing to be these little green men or whatever.
Yeah. Ardoc, let's go international. It's time. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
All right, hold on. Remind me to put the stream back up. I'm gonna do the old.
I'm gonna drop mine
and actually,
out.
I think I'm gonna have to do the say bye-byes to YouTube right now. Unfortunately, I am recording this whole video, guys, and I will upload it later. YouTube is giving us checks on it, so basically, when I upload the video, what it's going to do is going to say, okay, well, we looked at it, we didn't see any problems with it. So you have to be really careful. And I know a lot of the things Ardoc's going to be talking about, they don't want to hear it all for sure. But yeah, let's do that. 1 second. Let me get onto your stream and give me 1 second. You can just continue along. Ardoc will be right there with you.
All right, Hulk, you ready? You got the right screen on?
Yep, I'm on. I'm ready, sir.
All right, we're gonna.
All right, so he's doing Bitcoins up at 100,000, guys. We're going to do a little... I'm going to shut down the YouTube right here, guys, just so you know. And sorry for the guys that are listening to my stream here that are sticking around on Rumble. We're going to do a little outro for them and say bye-bye, YouTube. You guys have links in the description box. You guys can follow along. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.